guys, so this is the second dream that I had. I had it this morning. Yeah, I had it this morning. And what happened was there were these people, they were like in a group, and there was this guy, and he was like ministering to them, I guess, and he was just saying the scripture, and I don't remember him having a Bible. He was just saying a scripture, and to me, I think I walked up and I saw them ministering or whatever, and I was just like, something doesn't add up. So I actually, only person in this group, I had a Bible in my hand, a physical Bible, and I opened up the Bible and I went to the scripture and I read the scripture out loud to them, and I said, this is wrong, because he was saying all the words were right, what he was saying, but there was one word that he was getting completely wrong, and it was a C word, and I can't remember. I think it was either condemned. I think the word was supposed to be condemned, and he was saying convinced or something like that. I believe that was it. He was saying convinced, and the word was supposed to be condemned. Don't quote me on that, but I know the word was a C word. Okay, I know it was a C word, and he was saying the scripture and he was saying it wrong, and I came up and I was like, no, this is the scripture and this is the Bible and this is actually what it says. And what he was saying was making everybody feel grief, like they were feeling like really bad. And when I came up and I showed them the actual scripture, they felt happy, and that was the end of the dream. And I just want to point out something that just, like, when I woke up and got this dream, and I was like, oh yeah, obviously, make sure you read the Bible right and things like that. And I already had a revelation about this, and I plan to put it up and put it in the description box and all that stuff. But something else pointed out to me was the fact that here's this dude who's quoting scripture, quoting whatever he wants to quote, without a Bible. And I believe he didn't have a Bible in his hand. I do believe that strongly. And these people are all just listening to him. They're listening to this message that's making them feel bad. And they're just listening. My question is, why didn't anybody else look up the Bible? Why didn't anybody else take a step out? And why didn't anybody else say something? Like, everybody was just literally just sitting there just listening. And I'm like, I literally just walked up. As soon as I walked up in the dream, I instantly opened up my Bible and was like, this is wrong. I didn't sit there listening like, no. Like, I was like, something ain't right. I opened up the Bible, showed them the Bible, showed them the scripture, and read it. And I remember in the dream I was reading it like it was my first time reading it. So it wasn't like I just walked up and I knew the Bible at the back of my hand. I literally had no idea what the Bible was going to say, but I still questioned it. I still looked into it. I want to talk about something that when you hear something, it doesn't matter who's saying it. I don't care. It could be Albert Einstein. Okay. It could be the president. It could be somebody with Nobel Prize. I don't care. It is our job to go out and seek and figure out the truth. Okay? Don't just sit there and just be dumb and listening to it and say, oh, well, the majority or the smartest guy or whatever. Because the Bible does teach us in multiple different scriptures, but we learn that these people are forever coming to, they constantly learning, but they never come to the knowledge of the truth. Okay? So I don't care what degree you got. You can have 5 million different masters, doctorates, whatever. I could care less, honestly. And I honestly have heard very smart people say the most dumbest things, honestly. And it's just crazy to me. Okay? Just being honest. Like, I'm be completely honest. And I pray this doesn't come off mean, but there are some very stupid, smart people in this world. So that's why it's very important that when we hear stuff, you don't just listen to it. You don't just follow the majority. You don't just say, oh, well, this person said this and this person. You go and figure it out on your own. Okay? And it's very important, because I was just thinking about this today, about how, there's a lot of stuff that the devil does that gets leaked out. And I was thinking about it like, wow, like, a lot of people who follow the devil are supposed to be these smart scholars and stuff like that. Why are they letting their stuff slip out? And that's when it hit me like a bag of rocks, about how Jesus talks about how if they don't know, then it's not a sin, but if they know, it's a sin. And that's why the devil's throwing this stuff out in our face. He's not doing it on accident. It's on purpose. You think they accidentally messed up and leaked out some stuff that the whole entire world knows? You think they accidentally, like the McDonald's person, CEO of it, he literally came out, it was either McDonald's or Taco Bell, I can't remember, but somebody literally came out and said that you guys are eating, and it's like, you know what I mean? Like, you think they accidentally did that? No, they did that on purpose, because now you know. Now you knowingly know. In my dream, there's these group of people who knowingly were sitting here listening to this dude. Like, it's 2021. We all have phones. Anybody could easily just picked up, looked up on Google, looked up the scripture he was saying, figured it out. Oh, whoa, bro, you are completely wrong, because I'm telling you, I'm pretty sure the words were convinced or condemned. Either way, it was two words that were completely different, and that completely contradicted the Bible of what it said in my dream. So that is why it's important. You don't just sit there in ignorance. You don't just sit there like a blind person being led by the blind. Okay? I'm not gonna sit here and hold somebody's hand and walk off a cliff with them. Like, no, we're not doing that. Because at the end of the day, and I just posted a dream about how, you know, a relationship with God is an A and B relationship. But it's also coincides with this dream too, because at the end of the day, you're going to stand before God, and God's going to ask you about you. And if you sit there and say, well, Susan told me that, no. God didn't ask about Susan. He asked about you. Why didn't you get up and go figure out the truth? And I want to say something really quickly. I was talking to my mom about this. So when I was in 12th grade, I took psychology class. I was in psychology class. I was in honors. And I took psychology class, and on the first day of class, my teacher told the parents for orientation, so I think it was like the day before, first day of school, for orientation, told every single parent in that classroom that she was going to make us do meditation. My mom was the only woman to speak up and say, my daughter's not doing that. I do not want her in the classroom during this time. There were other parents in there who went to church. So these are not atheists. These are not witchcraft people. These are people who actually claim to be Christian. They didn't say anything. They didn't go up to my mom and ask her or anything like that. So you would think maybe the parents told their kids in secret, like, hey, don't go on that day, or, walk out on that day or something like that. So this happened on the very first day of school, right? The meditation was the very last day of school. So a whole entire year, because this is a 2-semester class, whole entire year passes. You've got a whole entire year to learn why did this woman speak up and tell this teacher not to let her kid do a meditation. It's a simple thing. You got a whole entire year to go to the teacher and say, hey, you know what? Honestly, I don't want my kid doing that either. You got a whole entire year to go to the board, to go to do anything to stop this from happening. A whole entire year. So on the last day of school, the whole entire classroom was full. The teacher, who to this day, I honestly believe that she was either a demon in human form or a witch, because that woman was wicked as ever. She stood in front of the class and she said out loud, she said, there is a student in here whose parent does not want them to be a part of this. And I believe she did that to see if I would remember. And if I didn't remember, I bet you she wouldn't have said anything. Okay? But I did remember. And I got up, grabbed myself, and walked out. I was the only student who walked out. The way that she had worded that, if any other parent had told their child not to be there, could have walked out with me. But I was the only who walked out. And even after that class, I remember people coming up to me and saying, well, we didn't do the meditation, we just sat there in the class and all this stuff, and literally trying to make fun of me for walking out. And I even had my friends come up to me and was like, why? Like, it's not that big of a deal, you just sit there and quiet. And the thing is, like, it's a whole year. That's what the point I'm trying to say is, like, it's a whole year. You had the time to go and learn. You had the time to go and figure out why this parent doesn't want her child doing this meditation thing. You have the time to go and understand. So you can't sit there and stand before God and say, well, I didn't know meditation was bad. No, just because you didn't get up and go learn, because you had the time to go learn. And that's the point I'm trying to get to. And that's the point that I believe that my dream was saying. It was 2 points of that dream. It was like, read the Bible. Actually read the Bible. Actually read it. And don't just listen to somebody. And the second thing is, get up and go figure out the truth. Just because you sit there in ignorance, it's not anybody else's fault. It's your fault. Okay? But you still knew. Like, you still had the option to go figure out the truth. You decided not to figure out the truth. that's your fault. Okay, so I hope that makes sense. God bless you all. Have a nice one.